There's a fire inside you can't ignore. Stand still? Not a chance. You're a lifelong learner who's come this far. Now, we're here to help you keep going further. Capella University. What can't you do? Visit capella.edu to learn more.
Hey, this is U.S. Olympic gold medalist Tara Davis-Woodhull.
And I'm U.S. Paralympic gold medalist Hunter Woodhull.
As athletes, our lives are about having a clear path.
And a team that you can absolutely trust.
So when it came to getting the best mortgage,
we chose PennyMac.
PennyMac is proud to be the official mortgage provider of Team USA and you.
Learn more at pennymac.com. PennyMac Loan Services, LLC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 35953. Licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Conditions and restrictions may apply.
Hello to everybody who's had some weird days at the zoo. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour. One phone call. No names. No holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun. And I'll get to know you and you'll get to know me.
Hi, everybody. If you don't love an intro, I get it. And skip about 4.5 minutes ahead. It'll put you right towards the beginning of the call. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Chris Gethard here. Welcome to another episode of Beautiful Anonymous. I feel really lucky to be talking to you. I'm snowed in New Jersey, recording this from my house like the old days before I rented that office where I record it now. If you got slammed by the weather this week, hope you're hanging in there. Hope it wasn't too much of a pain in the butt. Also have to be very loud and clear. I want to send all the love in the world to the people of Minneapolis, to the people of St. Paul, to the people of Minnesota, and to people being crushed by oppression and fascism all over this country. I don't want to be ambiguous about that. I don't want to be vague about that. I want to be extraordinarily clear. Things are messed up, man. Things are feeling real messed up, and I hope this comes to an end very, very soon, and I hope that that end is peaceful and sane and does not have to be driven by further violence. This is strange times in America, about as strange as I've ever seen. It feels so silly to follow that up with the following, but I have to plug that if you want extra stuff with each caller every week, beautifulanonymous.com is the place to go to do it. I think the most important thing you get is ad-free episodes. You also get about 15 to 20 extra minutes with each caller with our 5-question system that I'm really, really fond of. I really love it so much, the 5 questions. And then if you subscribe at that upper tier, you, of course, get call-in number once a month that only goes out to people at that tier. Whole bunch of stuff, follow-ups with past callers, and it's really fun, and it's good stuff, and I appreciate everybody who signs up. Also want to appreciate everybody who's coming out to our live shows. If you are hearing this when it comes out, you're hearing it on Tuesday, January 27th. We are going out on the road on the 30th. We will be in Chicago, Illinois at the Hideout. On the 31st, we'll be in Hamtramck, Michigan, just outside of Detroit at the Sanctuary. And on Sunday, February 1st, we will be at Bottle Rocket in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so excited to do these shows. Really so genuinely excited. And I hope that you'll come out. There's like a handful of tickets left. I'm checking right now. Chicago, it looks like Chicago sold out. I just found out. That's a cool feeling. Chicago sold out. Let's go ahead. Let's check Pittsburgh in real time. That was exciting for everybody. Pittsburgh, it looks like there's less than 10 tickets left. Detroit, there's a lot of tickets left. Detroit, if you guys want to come on out, it would be much appreciated. Okay, that's all the plugs. This week's episode, I'm so excited for you all to hear it. This caller just has the best vibes. First of all, the best vibes. Funny stories about the zoo. Funny stories about navigating the world. And also just a lot of thoughtful stuff. This caller, it's funny. I went back and forth. Went back and forth so many times because on one hand, this caller seemed totally down to just talk in a casual way, be chill, be relaxed. On another hand, this caller is someone who was not raised in the United States and is here right now at this particular era in history, studying and dealing with what it means to be someone who wasn't born in America in early 2026, when that has become an issue that is sadly and strangely inciting actual violence and murder in the streets. So we kind of split the difference, talk about all sorts of stuff. At times we speak to that directly, at times we dance around it. And I think if anything, we are reminded that people are people, that people everywhere are just people trying to get by, do their things, fall in love, travel the world, see cool places, enjoy America in both San Diego and Indiana. So many nice things to say about the Midwest. Anyway, it's a good call, great vibes. I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks so much, everybody. Support the show. Tell the world that we exist.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello.
Hello, is this Mr. Gethard?
It is. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm elated right now. I'm so happy to talk to you. I woke up like 5 minutes ago. I saw the Blue Sky post and I called immediately.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm already intrigued by
Yeah,
you.
me too. Oh, well, I hope I can live up to your expectations.
I have no expectations, just a lot of intrigue. What's your deal?
What's my deal? I just spoke to Andrea and I told her one of the things I can talk to you about is how an animal escaped at the zoo while I was working there. So we can start there and go wherever we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So for some context, I volunteered at the zoo. I didn't really work there, but it was my second ever shift. And I show up and they're like, hey, our animal escaped and you got to keep all the guests away from the animal.
And you're a volunteer.
And I'm a volunteer.
What kind of animal?
And it was a red panda, so it was a very cute animal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about red pandas to know. Are they dangerous to humans?
I'm sure if they're cornered, but I would not think so. They're kind of small and furry and red. But this one, it escaped because we had like some strong winds the previous day. And one of the trees outside of its habitat kind of fell and toppled towards its habitat. So it climbed on the tree and then went on a different tree in the zoo and fell asleep.
Yeah.
And it was a very tall tree that none of the equipment could actually get to it. So they had to spend the whole day kind of like with like treats and like music. It's going to kind of like constant come down of the tree. And that was like the full day at the zoo.
Now, I've been to enough zoos to know that when you have a red panda, that's a must stop for most people. That's a heavy hitter. If a zoo has one, that's a heavily trafficked attraction. Yeah.
Yeah. When the red pandas showed up, there was long lines for them, and when they had babies, the lines got longer.
If you got a red panda popping out babies, your zoo is having a hot year.
It's a really good zoo. Yeah.
Do you want to say what zoo it was? Is it a zoo that I would know or no?
It's the San Diego Zoo.
That's the big one in the States.
That's the big one, yeah.
For any international listeners, even you might know, when it comes to the United States, I was about to say, like, we're not talking about like San Diego Zoo here. Because that's the big one. It's that and the Bronx Zoo, I would argue.
Mm-hmm. I'm not from the USA, so I knew about it when I moved here, and I was like, I want to go to it. And then I found out you can volunteer there. So I was like, oh, let me go volunteer there since I'm in San Diego.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Middle East across multiple countries. I moved around a lot.
So you're here. You're at the zoo. Lines to see the red panda and its babies. Red panda gets loose. How does the zoo keep the people from freaking out?
Oh, the people were everyone was trying to see it as well.
So the people knew. Word got out. There's a red panda. Everybody start looking.
Yes. Not like on purpose. I don't think it was on purpose. I think they heard, someone heard from someone, and it like spread like a wave across like everyone. There is a bridge in the San Diego Zoo, and if you go on the bridge, you can like look down and see some of the habitats from a top-down view, and the red panda could be seen from the top-down view. At one point, I got stationed to the bridge. I could also see it. And all the guests were there with me, and they would talk to me and ask me the red panda.
So
they were all just kind of chilling and like.
This was every person at the zoo wound up in some sort of 1980s comedy movie type scenario where everyone's looking for this red panda.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Who eventually found
Everyone's
it?
Up on the bridge, like, oh, there it is. I don't know who found it eventually, but I know that once they found it, they realized it was too high up to come back down easily. Like the ladders and the equipment that they have at the zoo to like get to high places did not reach as high as where the panda was.
So did they have to coax it down? Did they have to convince the red panda to come back down so they could get it?
Yes, they did. They brought out like treats, and they were trying to like bring out their favorite toys and trying to be like, hey, red panda, please come down. And red pandas love to sleep, so it just napped all day and wouldn't respond to anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's an exciting day to be volunteering at the zoo.
Yeah, and it was my second shift, so I was like really nervous. So I got there and they're like, hey, our animal escaped, we need your help. I was like, oh boy, okay.
Well, so the rest of your time there was comparatively pretty boring, I would imagine.
My first ever shift, the one before that, a lady got bit by a rat, and we had to escort her to first aid. And then I think my fourth or fifth shift, there was a lost child to look for. So I felt like for my first 5 to 10 shifts, there was always something. But after that, I was just standing and not doing much.
Did you volunteer at the zoo just because you liked the zoo and its vibe and you needed an activity, or are you studying to be a zoologist of some sort or work with animals in some way?
The former. I just wanted to volunteer at the zoo because I like this vibe, and I tend to like to volunteer in my communities. And so I was new to San Diego, and I was like, where can I volunteer? And I volunteered there. But I was doing my PhD at the time. And so the zoo was a way for me to escape to some of the stressors of the PhD and just like vibe with people and talk to people and see animals.
You're looking to have some pressure release and relax from your high stress academic experience. And they got you trying to find missing kids, trying to locate rare animals who are running amok. This does not sound relaxing at all.
You know, maybe not the most relaxing, but it's a different type of maybe stressor that I wasn't really tuning into. So it was a relief from the academic stressors, and so I get like real life stressors instead.
Are you still working on that PhD, or have you received it?
I just graduated from it like a month ago.
Can I ask what your doctorate is in?
It's in medical devices.
Whoa, that's cool stuff. So you had to go like present your dissertation before the board and be judged and all that?
Yep.
That sounds like an unpleasant thing, and I hope I never ever have to do it.
I mean, you know, you go on stages, you know, and perform in front of people.
Yeah.
presume there's some similarity there.
Maybe, but when I go on stage, there's not like a panel of 4 to 6 stone-faced people who tell me if I'm smart or not.
Have you thought about going on like America's Got Talent? Because that might have that.
There's that, or, Last Comic Standing was a pretty big show for a lot of comedians. I've never in any way seriously considered going on, although there's a group I'm friends with, these comedy guys named Chicken Big, and they do a bit called The Human Blender, and I think they just did that on America's Got Talent. And I was very impressed by the guts it took for them to go and do like a real dumb comedy bit on a show that big. I thought that was cool of them.
That's really cool. I might look that up afterwards.
Yeah, they're good dudes. They're funny people. So now medical devices. This is cutting edge stuff, and it's changed. I mean, I don't know much about it, but I do know that it's a very, to me, the world you're now dwelling in is very interesting because it's this balance of everything takes time and everything needs to get approved by the government, and nobody's just flinging around anything in the medical world that's untested. But also robotics and AI are affecting everything. And I'm in an industry where we are, nobody who's a writer or a creative person or an actor wants to see AI. Nobody wants AI actors. Nobody wants people to be able to not pay writers so that they can pay AI instead. But then in the medical world, you have to, if the precision of a heart surgery can be furthered by this technology, we only want things that are safer and more effective, less invasive, with a higher success rate. I have to imagine that this is a pretty big part of what you study in recent years if you're going into medical technology.
So it was when I began the PhD. So when I started, like, AI wasn't yet quite in the mainstream like it is now, but it was a hot topic in the academic circles. So there was a lot of like grant funding and money if you can do an AI-based project. And when I joined my lab, my boss wanted me to work on applying something with machine learning or AI to design a medical device kind of sensor. But I found out that the thing we were wanting was not yet compatible with AI. AI requires data to create data. And so we were missing a lot of data because it was a brand new field we were venturing into in the medical devices realm. And so my research became like, okay, cool, what kind of like basic data we have to get so someone can eventually use AI in it. And that was like my entire PhD. But in the process, I got to like make some pretty cool new things that didn't exist before. And I had to learn a lot of color theory. And I'm not an artist. And so being able to work with color theory and learn about how colors work was very fun. So I didn't do any AI. I had to use AI in the beginning. And I was like, that would not work. And I did something else.
What a cool thing you do.
Thank you.
That really is. You forget that, as someone who has a bachelor's degree and barely scraped through and got it, like really limped to the finish line of my college experience, it's easy for me to think of, well, you just keep going in school and you keep writing papers. But when you're at your level, no, like if you're working on a doctorate, you're actually working with the most cutting edge knowledge and technology, and you're having an effect and you're leaving fingerprints on things. It's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah. I like to tell people to do a PhD requires a lot of stubbornness over anything else. Because it's going to be like one hit after the other of like things failing.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's your goals now that you got the PhD?
Retirement, would be ideal, I think.
Instantly from
but
school to
plan-
retirement, you're going to skip the whole phase where you're out in the workforce? You're going to skip the entire stretch of life where you participate in the workforce and the economy and go from school to retirement?
I think that's my ideal, because then I can like keep volunteering and doing stuff in my community I would really like to.
Yeah, that's my ideal
but-
too. Tell me how once you figure that
exactly.
shit out, let me know how you can just retire instantly. You want to just volunteer at the
Well,
zoo all day after years and years of schooling?
That kind of sounds fun, to be honest. But
Yeah, it does.
My plan B, because I do need a living and money and all that stuff, is well, I've been applying and interviewing to like kind of jobs, and some in academia, some in like government national labs, some in like nonprofits as like a researcher for them. And I had a couple of promising interviews, and I have I think my final interview today at like 2 p.m. and now it's like 10 a.m. here in California to hopefully get the job to be a scientist in medical devices for some company.
That's very cool. Now, I'll also say, I don't know what you look like, but just based on the sound of your voice, you sound rather young to have a PhD. Are you young compared to the other PhD recipients?
I feel like I'm either slightly older or about average in the age. I'm in my 30s.
Do you
right
get
now, Chris.
do you get this a lot that you sound younger than you are?
Yeah, when I was at the zoo, the other volunteers thought I was like 18 or 19 years old. So even, people can think that a lot about me.
Wow. What's the coolest medical technology you've kind of encountered or researched as part of your recent PhD efforts? What's the stuff out here that people like me don't know about that's just starting to be used, where you're like, I want to be a nerd for a second and just say this shit's cool?
Okay. To preface and give you some context with this, I mostly work with things that haven't quite entered clinical trials. Like we're kind of way far back, and then we're like, hey, this could work. So maybe not quite in the periphery of the public yet, but there is a professor. He's an expert on wearable medical devices. And his goal is to essentially turn the entire lab where they do your tests into a small patch you can put in your skin. And so this small patch could measure like your blood oxygen levels, your blood pressure. It can measure your sweat or different biomarkers to see what's going on with you. I think that's really cool that you can basically turn the whole testing into one little patch you just put in your skin. And it tells you everything you need to know. A lot of things. Yeah.
So there'll be a day where they can just put a little patch like on the back of your hand, and then a minute later the doctor can look at the results and go, okay, you need to get more B12 in your system. We have a slight concern with some toxin levels in your liver, so we're going to do further testing on that. Turns out you have chlamydia. We're going to give you medicine for that. Like they can just test everything through the one patch.
That's the dream. Realistically, it might be like multiple patches for different things, but the dream is to basically condense a full like lab suite into a single thing you can put in your skin.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great for all of us. We don't have to drive to Quest Diagnostics after the doctor's appointment. Thank you. I would love that.
Yeah. And there's now like startups coming up based on this idea where they're trying to make it so that the clothes you wear have that embedded inside it so it can tell you when something is going wrong in your body or going right.
I mean, we had an episode of this show from someone who their Apple Watch gave them a heads up and saved their life on some serious medical stuff. And that was a couple of years ago now. And I think a lot of us listening to that were like, whoa, wow, an Apple Watch saved you? And now we all know that happens. We all know, anyone with elderly relatives knows you're trying to get them life alert technology. It might be as simple as an Apple Watch. And to hear, you might be able to throw on a shirt that will turn around and tell you if your heart is behaving normally, or be able to alert you if your blood sugar is not reacting right. That's going to save a lot of lives.
It feels very sci-fi sometimes to see it happening, but it's just the science now with lots of fiction, which is kind of cool.
I do have worries about the blending of medical technology and mental health. I don't know if this is something you've thought about or researched at all.
Could you repeat that? You said medical devices and mental health?
Yeah, you're hearing... It's tough because I don't want to be alarmist, but you're hearing about companies that are trying to build like AI therapist bots, and a lot of them are actually going to be used with kids.
Yeah.
Where I'm going, I can't imagine that a kid talking to an algorithm on an iPad is truly that feels to me like on some level it has to be a cash grab, and that can't be the best way to help a kid navigate their own humanity. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Luddite, and maybe I'm scared.
No, I mean, it's a fair concern because, like, right now we're entering territory in science where we need to contend with new rules of ethics of what it means for, AI to be part of a lot of things and what that means. There's a lot of bias in AI, and right now it looks great and sounds great because it's really good at emulating human language, but it can't quite think for itself. So there is that danger if you're going to emulate human language, but not really have a way to add checks or have it like kind of self-internalize what kind of things it's going to say. It could cause harm. And it's a new area that we got to figure out ethics for, and then figure out like policy regulations to be able to keep it in check.
It is so...
And so it's a fair concern.
It's really, it's so cut and dry to hear you say it, but you do think about it. I think historians will look back on this era and will probably flag that technology moved quick and ethics did not. That the ethics were abandoned very often in the pursuit of new technologies, and then the ethics had to catch up. Where we're living in a moment right now where those things could move in lockstep, that we could really think about the ethics and how all these things should be used, but we're all in this kind of gleeful arms race to go, new technology, let's just start using it, not necessarily thinking about its impact or its implications. And in some ways it's going to make life easier and better, and in some ways I think it's going to create long, rocky stretches where at minimum we feel very disconnected as humans until we start reacting and strategizing around it. That's my guess. How cool is it to hear a discussion of this hot button issue from somebody who's been studying it and now has a doctorate in it? It's cool. This caller's cool. I like this caller. We got ads. We'll be right back. You know it's bad when your inbox hits double digits before 9 a.m. You start the day buried in tasks and end it wondering where the time went. Doing it all yourself felt scrappy at first. Now it's just slowing you down, so stop doing everything. If you're overextended and understaffed, Upwork Business Plus helps you bring in top quality freelancers fast. Get instant access to the top 1% of talent on Upwork in marketing, design, AI, and more. Ready to jump in and take work off your plate. Instead of spending weeks sorting through random resumes, Upwork Business Plus sends a curated shortlist of expert talent to your inbox in hours. Trusted, top-rated freelancers vetted for skills and reliability and rehired by businesses like yours. Upwork Business Plus takes the hassle out of hiring and the pressure off your team by dropping trusted freelance talent right in your lap. That way you're never stuck spinning your wheels when you need a skilled pro and your projects don't stall. When finding talent you can trust feels impossible, it's easy to default to doing everything yourself. Upwork Business Plus sources, vets, and shortlists proven experts so you can stop doing it all and delegate with confidence. Upwork Business Plus doesn't just help you find quality freelancers, it handpicks the best so you can focus on scaling and let pros on Upwork handle the rest. Right now, when you spend $1,000 on Upwork Business Plus, you'll get $500 in credit. Go to upwork.com/save now and claim the offer before 1/31/2026. Again, that's upwork.com/SAVE. Terms apply. A new year, colder days. This is it. This is the time when your winter wardrobe has to deliver. If you're craving a winter reset, start with pieces truly made to last season after season. Quince brings together premium materials, thoughtful design, and enduring quality, so you stay warm, look sharp, and feel your best all season long. Quince has everything you need: men's Mongolian cashmere sweaters, wool coats, leather and suede outerwear that actually hold up to daily wear and still look good. Their outerwear is especially impressive. Think down jackets, wool coats, Italian leather outerwear that keeps you warm when it's actually cold. Each piece is made from premium materials by trusted factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. By cutting out middlemen and traditional markups, Quince delivers the same quality as luxury brands at a fraction of the price. The result is classic styles you'll love that hold up year after year. I have been shouting to the hilltops about my Quince sweaters for a long time now. I now have 2 Quince corduroy jackets, and every time I wear them, I get compliments, and I feel great about them. I love my Quince corduroy jackets. Those are the ones I am deeply in love with right now. I will soon be traveling and performing on stage with them because they make me feel confident. Refresh your winter wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/beautiful for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/beautiful. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/beautiful. Thanks to all of our advertisers. Now let's get back to the phone call. In some ways, it's going to make life easier and better. And in some ways, I think it's going to create long, rocky stretches where at minimum we feel very disconnected as humans until we start reacting and strategizing around it. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's sadly what happens sometimes. There's like an example from history that I had to learn in my studies, where it was in the 70s or 80s when we as humanity were beginning to be able to realize we can manipulate the genes in like bacteria and other microbes to be able to create our own like designer microbes for experiments and things like that. There was a real worry that someone somewhere could create a microbe that we as humanity could not combat if it becomes a pathogen.
Yeah,
and there was a huge push to create ethics around that and create guidelines of how scientists should kind of behave with regards to working with modifying the genetic code of microbial organisms. And that now is what defines some of our lab safety guidelines, is that pursuit of ethics back in the 80s on that topic.
Smart person. Got your doctorate. Looking to retire already as quickly as possible. Volunteers at a zoo.
No.
Still volunteers at the zoo? Or I know you were just kidding about instant retirement. Do you still volunteer at the zoo? I may have asked this already. Apologies.
No, I had to stop about a year ago.
Yeah.
Because I got a concussion and I had to be like, cool, I got to go recover.
I thought you were going to say I had to focus on the doctorate. I had to buckle up and get ready for the big push on my doctorate. How'd you get the concussion?
No, I lifted a suitcase, and as I was going up, I banged my head on a pipe behind me. So it's a very lukewarm story. I just kind of banged my head on the pipe behind me, and
that's not good.
Concussion.
That's no good. And it was severe enough that you could no longer be tasked with tracking down loose red pandas at the zoo.
No, sadly, no. I was in bed for a good 2 weeks, and then it took me 3 months for full recovery.
Oh, that's a real concussion right there.
Yeah. And when I this happened in the start of January last year, and so when I was done with it and became once again aware of the world around me, we had a new administration in the U.S. And so I got to catch up on all that news.
So you banged your head real hard, and then when you finally felt like yourself again, Trump was president.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a great feeling.
No. And Chris, I had to, so at the time, I was working with a team to organize a conference, and we put in a grant proposal for like NASA to be able to like run this conference, how we want to run it. And they approved it. But once we switched administrations, all the money got frozen. And so I left my concussion and I was like, cool, I gotta now try and like fight the government to give us our money.
That's a bummer. You're out here doing all this cool stuff and then you hit your head on a pipe and it feels like now you're living in an alternate reality where none of it's going to happen.
It was surreal.
Have you ever daydreamed that maybe Trump was not elected president, but you just banged your head really hard on a pipe and now you're living in some sort of coma where Trump is president and money is frozen and immigrants are being demonized and abducted on the streets, and that someday you'll wake up and this will all have been a bad dream and Kamala Harris will in fact be president? Have you ever thought about that?
I did. I was like, oh, maybe next time I go to the doctor, they'd be like, oh, you're having like delusions, but no worry, we can like fix them.
I also know that the administration has taken actions and made even more threats about visas for high achieving individuals, student visas for people who didn't grow up in America. This is direct impact on you.
Oh yeah, I am currently my country is on as of this week is now banned from getting immigration visas to the USA. So my current visa is my last one unless that changes. So I'm kind of just like.
Do you have to worry about the status of your current visa?
No, well, not yet. Right now, it's kind of fine. They're not touching current visas right now, but future visas, that's kind of.
About how long do you have on the current one?
I have until November, and then in November, it's meant to get extended for 2 more years. So I'm now worried it won't get extended, but that is a thing I will deal with in November.
And I just have to point out to anyone listening whose politics are different than mine, I have respect for the fact that there's a spectrum of opinion, but this is one of the things I have to point out. We're talking to a person here, and this is real. This is beautiful, anonymous. We don't engineer these moments. We never have. We have a person who likes to volunteer at zoos and who worked very hard to get a doctorate to help with the world of medical technology, who wants to go get out there in the nonprofit world you mentioned. Like, this is not these are the people who have to worry because of the way everything's being done. And I personally think that sucks. And I don't think there's much defending it. And if you want to spend time defending it, you can just be mad at me. I don't want to debate it, but I'm going, this is not, hey, chase out all the criminals. It's like, no, stress out a recent doctorate recipient who also wants to give of their time to help animals and people. That we're stressing these out too. This collateral damage, the juice is not worth the squeeze, man. It's really stressful, and I find myself so embarrassed. And I don't want to apologize to you personally on the phone for my country because that would feel strange. But I do just want to express that I find it very embarrassing. It just feels embarrassing that you've even had to lay that out, that you're expecting to be here 2 more years and you don't know what's going to happen in November. I find it embarrassing that that's the way things are being handled lately.
Thank you, I think. But it's happening and I'm trying to roll the punches. But we'll see. Right now, my concern is my partner has another year and a bit on their doctorate. So I was hoping to be here until they're done, and then we're going to leave together. So it might end up me leaving like 8 months before they finish, and then we'll meet up after we're done. Is the current plan, worst comes to worst for us.
Well, that also, and I don't know if that was your plan when you first decided to come to the States, but that bums me out too, that you're like, no, believe me, like, we're getting the fuck out of here. We were just going to do it on our terms, but we're not sticking around for this shit. Is that part of it, or was the plan always to move on after getting your doctorate?
No, the plan was always to move on afterwards.
Okay.
There wasn't really a plan. I moved around a lot, kind of growing up, and the longest I've ever stayed in one place was the PhD. Was my 5 years and a bit of the PhD, and so imagining staying in one place more than that wasn't quite in my head just yet.
That's not your deal. How many countries have you lived in?
I've lived only 3 countries, but it was kind of like moving also within states in those countries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in the USA, I used to live in Indiana, and then I moved to California for my doctorate. I lived in Jordan, and I've also lived in the Arabian Peninsula. So kind of.
What was the middle one? Georgia? Or
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
I've heard that Jordan's lovely. And is Jordan the country that has the queen that is often referred to as the most beautiful person in the entire world? Am I remembering that correctly?
Queen Rania?
I believe so, yeah. That's
Jordan.
If you're gonna have a monarchy, make them smoking hot. Just let's make them smoking hot. Can we not do this other type of monarchy thing that the Europeans do, where everybody's marrying each other and they got secret cousins that they have to hide because of all the? I'm not trying to slam everybody too hard, but can we at least follow Jordan's lead and go, if you got to have a monarch, make them a smoke show. We want to at least have a smoke show if we have to have monarchs.
I like your opinion on this, Chris.
I don't need all the purity of the bloodline that leads to all the inbreeding monarchs. I need the Queen of Jordan, who everyone the world over, if you've heard of Jordan even on the most ignorant level, and I'm right now displaying my own ignorance. Let me be clear that I am aware that you mentioned Jordan, and my response was, I heard the queen is hot. That, believe me, I'm aware how dumb that is, and honestly disrespectful, not just to her, but to the entire country and probably the whole region, because I also know Jordan's a pretty major player in the Middle East, a stabilizing force in many ways. I think so easy for Americans to play up stereotypes in their mind of the Middle East, and I believe Jordan is one of the countries that really proves that those cliches are not the norm. So I understand my ignorance, but also I'm far from the only person who has heard that the Queen of Jordan is, apparently you meet her in person and people will be brought to stunned silence or tears at her beauty.
What I do appreciate is that this is the first time that I mention Jordan, and the reaction I get is about the Queen. It's never about the Queen when I mention Jordan. So I really appreciate that you gave me a unique answer.
See, actually, by me just mumbling, I heard that Queen is hot. What that was me being a forward thinker and honestly something of a feminist ally is actually what it was. So let's everybody not get that twisted. Let's not get that twisted, everybody. And then you said the Arabian Peninsula, and I will again express my ignorance to say that I am not even certain which countries are on the peninsula itself.
You can think Saudi Arabia and Dubai and things like that are over there.
Are the Emirates part of the peninsula?
Emirates, yep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's wild to wind up from there to Indiana. San Diego is a city, incredible weather, and it sounds like you're there for academic reasons. How and why did you wind up in Indiana? Did you do undergrad stuff in Indiana?
I did undergrad stuff in Indiana, yes.
Were you in Bloomington? Were you at Indiana?
I was I was at Purdue University in
Purdue.
West Lafayette. Yeah.
I don't think I've been through there. Bloomington, great town. Great town. I don't know much about Purdue. I have to imagine moving from Jordan and a number of countries in the Arabian Peninsula to West Lafayette, Indiana is, I mean, you know what you're getting into, but that's a big culture shock.
I loved it so much. I wasn't
nice.
So I was out of high school, and I didn't really know what was going to go on because my entire perception was America in movies and TV shows. It was not like here's the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. Like there are different cultures within them, and so I just kind of went there thinking America is America. I didn't quite understand the whole different states are like their own mini countries and how massive America is and like what's going on. But I got there and I had such a good time. I really, really enjoyed it. And I got to see snow for the first time in my life too in Indiana.
You got what for the first time in your life? Snow. I didn't even consider that.
I never saw snow before I moved to Indiana.
So that's the first time you had a snowfall. You feel like you're witnessing something out of science fiction or something that you've only seen in movies, and you're living it.
Yeah, I spent like an hour. My first snowfall was staring out the window at the snow falling. It was really cool.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What are the and I'm baiting controversy here on some level, but I'm not really trying to, because I want to think of the positive and negative. What are the stereotypes you heard about Americans that proved true, and what are aspects of America and Americans that you did not expect that you were pleasantly surprised by?
Let's see. Stereotypes. Lockers are real. Like in high schools and in my campus, there were actual lockers where you could slip inside between classes. I thought that was one in the movies. Like that was. I didn't have lockers, so lockers, the yellow school buses, just like kind of those like kind of everyday mundane things. But those were very quintessentially like American, because we didn't really have those, and so that was like for me. I was like, whoa, it's all like in the movies. I also had chili in the Midwest, and it was really good. So like a lot of the things I thought were in the shows were also in real life, and they were really good. I really enjoyed them. What was your second question? I forgot.
Are there things that you believe to be true about? Are there things you were pleasantly surprised by? Things that didn't fit the stereotypes, or things that you'd never heard of where you went, I had no idea this was happening? Like I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that they're always blown away that red Solo cups are real at college parties. They're like, why do you have red cups for keg beer? And people are like, we see that in movies and that's real. And then I also hear people say, you know, the first time you go to an American chain restaurant and see the portion size, you're like, what? How? This is 4 meals worth of food. Why is this much food on the plate? I ordered 1 meal. You hear a lot of stuff like that. I'm wondering if there's anything that defied expectations you had in positive ways. Although you've already laid it out. You're a very positive person in general, I'm getting the sense. We're going to pause right there because we've got one more batch of ads, everybody. If your anxiety, depression, or ADHD are more than a rough patch, you don't just need another meditation app. Talkiatry makes it easy to see a psychiatrist online using your insurance in days. Talkiatry is a 100% online psychiatry practice that provides comprehensive evaluations, diagnoses, and ongoing medication management for conditions like ADHD, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, OCD, PTSD, insomnia, and more. I think everybody knows that I am a huge, huge advocate of finding your way into help when it comes to mental health, and I'm so happy that Talkiatry is out here doing that in a forward-thinking way. Unlike therapy-only apps, Talkiatry is psychiatry. That means you're seeing a medical provider who can diagnose mental health conditions and prescribe medication when it's appropriate. All of their 600-plus clinicians are in-network with major insurers, so you can use your existing insurance instead of paying monthly subscriptions or out-of-network fees. You'll meet with an experienced licensed psychiatrist who takes the time to understand what's going on, builds a personalized treatment plan, and can prescribe medication when it's right for you. Your care stays consistent and evidence-based. Getting started with Talkiatry takes just a few minutes. Complete a short online assessment, get matched with clinicians who fit your needs, and schedule your first visit in days, not months. More than 300,000 patients have already found high-quality psychiatric care through Talkiatry. Head to talkiatry.com/beautiful and complete the short assessment to get matched with an in-network psychiatrist in just a few minutes. That's talkiatry.com/beautiful to get matched in minutes. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. It is so easy right now to find personal info about people online. Your address is out there, your phone number, family members' names, it's all hanging out on the internet, and that can have actual consequences in the real world, and it makes everyone vulnerable. Now, with Delete Me, you can protect your personal privacy or the privacy of your business from doxing attacks before sensitive information can be exploited. I use Delete Me. I am thrilled with their service. I have been in many situations where, as someone who has lived publicly, I have gotten a little, at times, worried. There's been a few worrisome situations. There was one stretch a couple years ago where I was actually really, really worried. There was some behavior happening online that made me super nervous. I got deeply in my head about it, and Delete Me got to work, and I would not ever make this up just for an ad. When I tell you that they pulled my info down from so many places, and they keep going back. I get reports on which of these data broker sites are trying to add it back in and which ones they're pulling it back on. I can tell you personally, it gave me peace of mind, made me feel like I was stepping up and doing my best to protect my family and trying to maintain some sense of privacy and some sense of boundaries. Delete Me really helped my family, and I can't thank them enough for that. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful and use the promo code beautiful at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Enter code beautiful at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Code beautiful. Thanks to our advertisers. Now let's finish the phone call. You're a very positive person in general, I'm getting the sense.
I try to be, but the portion sizes is like a lot bigger here, and I really appreciate that.
You do.
So I can have like multiple. I can have multiple meals from like going once to the restaurant. It was great.
Yeah.
But also, I think. I mean, I'm not a sociologist. I don't actually know if this is a true assessment, but I feel like at least in the U.S., like hospitality culture here is like giving you a lot of food. And then you can like have it all at once, or you can have it over multiple days. Like you can have leftovers. Like, that's part of the culture here. And I know in like other areas, the culture is like you got to finish your plate. And so I really do appreciate that in the U.S. I get to take leftovers. Like
you love a good leftover. Cool. We are good at leftovers, man. The whole idea, and you're living in an. I'm going to tell you something too. You're living in an era where, and I think this is ultimately good, but. You're living in an era where the standard now is like, hey, can I get like a container? Can I get a take-home plate, a takeaway plate, however you phrase it? And they'll bring you the thing, and then you lift up the plate and you scrape it all with your fork, right? That's new. Mm-hmm. That's only within the past 5 to 10 years. For most of my life, the standard was, I'd like to take this home, please. And they remove your plate, and it comes back nicely packed up for you.
Oh,
it was
really?
It was even better. It was even better 10 years ago. Now, I don't think that. I think that servers, waiters, waitresses have enough going on that they don't need to prep my take home, my leftovers. But it used to be, hey, we'd like this and this and this as our leftovers, and they would pack it up for you, and oftentimes it would appear in like a well organized paper bag for you to just carry away. You weren't sitting at your table pushing pasta with a fork. They did the leftover packing for you. Now that is not the standard.
Okay, because back in the Middle East, the waiter would take your plate and then bring you back a packed box. And so when I was here and I was like, could I take us to go? And they gave me a box. I was like, whoa, I get to do it? So that was...
See, my perspective is that, man, I miss the packed up box. I miss the packed up box. I can't lie.
Yeah, I'll say I have less, I prefer the packed up box because I know if I'm doing it, I'm going to let things get like mashed together without too much care in the world.
Yep.
So my leftover is going to be like everything's going to touch everything else. But when the professionals do it, they know what they're doing. Like, they know how to use the bread or whatever to separate the juices of the food.
Establish some boundaries and barriers amongst the different food groups. Yes. This is not my area of expertise and I need the help. Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
But Chris, I will add like one more thing on the same kind of vibe of, I get to do it. And this may not apply to you in New Jersey. Maybe it does now, I don't know. But filling up like cars, like filling up the petrol, the gas in cars by myself, that was not a thing I ever did before moving to the USA. It was like there's an attendant at the station who will fill up your car with gas.
Like New Jersey. New Jersey's the last state where you are not allowed to pump your own gas. And frankly, I prefer it. I like that service. And I think I'm with you. It's fun. It's fun on some level to pump your own gas once in a while, but I prefer it Jersey style. And it sounds like Middle Eastern style as well.
Yeah. I was so scared the first time I did it. I was texting my friends, like, how did I do it? Will my car explode if I do it wrong? Because I like gas is flammable. And so I was full of anxiety the first time, but I was like, this is nothing. This is fine. Yeah.
And I don't want to harp on politics too much, but you also have crossed over living in America. It sounds like you had fun. It sounds like Purdue was fun. It sounds like San Diego was fun. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you've enjoyed it. It sounds like you've gotten a lot done. It sounds like you worked hard. It's also strange because if you never choose to live in America again, it does sound like time-wise, you happen to live in the United States during a stretch where a lot of people are saying that it's at its worst in recent memory, in my lifetime, at its most divided, at its most violent, at its most combative with the other parts of the world, including allies. You sound like a very positive person, and you always look for the bright side of things, but it must be very, very strange to get dropped into Indiana and San Diego during this particular stretch of American life.
It is. And like, I know I'm being positive, but like all those stuff also are on my mind and they do stress me out. But I am usually someone who tends to keep up with like politics and like what's going on and how things are changing. I am involved in things I'm allowed to be involved in. So I used to be, when I was working doing my PhD, I was part of like one of the unions, and we had a year, we went on strike. I was on the strike captains, and I voted for like my union president then. And that was my first time like voting for something. And I was like, whoa, I got to vote, because I can't really vote back home. We don't have voting. So I'm involved in things, and I try to practice something, which I only learned the term for it this week, but I've been doing it for a while. It's called anarchist calisthenics. Have you heard of that before, Chris?
No. Talk me through anarchist kinesthetics.
Essentially, it's the idea that you're trying to train muscles of morality, and depending on who you are, that can be seen as rebellion, or it can be seen as just like you're trying to be a good person. So that when like small acts, that when a big thing happens, you can act. And one of the ways one thing you gotta do is to not tire out those muscles. And so like maybe you're like really against car centric cities, and so you want to make things more pedestrian friendly. So in that case, you might train that muscle by just jaywalking whenever you can. And the idea is that once you're in a position where you can like do something about it, you've developed that muscle so that you can actually help inform some change. Now, the thing is, if it's a muscle, it can get tired out. If it tires out, you can't really use it as much. And so that comes with trying your best to not be overwhelmed by every like bad news story, bad policy that happens.
Yes, that's important.
It's a picture kind of battle situation. You can't win all of them, but you can make sure you're there to win the ones that need to be won. And then, you win the ones that you can win, someone else wins theirs, and hopefully over time that gives you like a better future using these like small acts of trying to be a good person, or small acts of like either positive or negative resistance. So either you're doing something to resist, or you're resisting by refusing to do something, like boycotts and so forth. So I try and do that. And if times come where I can like help out a bit more, I try to. But I do have the handicap that I'm not really American, so I can't be involved in like certain political stuff without breaking the law. But things on the very local level, like my union or things like that, where I can be involved with, I try and stretch those muscles there. So there is like a part of me that's like, cool, I gotta.
That philosophy that you do things that are creating a little anarchy, breaking some rules, but you do it for the express purpose of effectively strengthening your own ability to commit to civil disobedience when it's time, that you're getting used to the idea that you will bend or break rules to define your own reality in a way that you're comfortable with. I love that. And I'm so glad to hear that's something you've been able to experiment with.
Yeah. And that's like, I think one of the things I really liked about the USA is I get to do that with less risk to myself than if I was living under some monarchies or dictatorships.
And talk to me about that, because, it's easy. It's despite my frustrations, despite me saying at points in this call that I'm embarrassed that you have lived here during this stretch, that your time in America will double up with a point that historians will point to as one of the worst stretches of American life. I'm also intensely proud of America, and I love it. And I wonder, it's cool for you to say, oh, there's things I get to experience, freedom of choice, participation in the political structures that you don't get everywhere. It's a good reminder as well. And I'm wondering where you say your plan was always to move on. Are you heading to a different part of the world? Are you heading back towards the Middle East? What's your future look like? Or do you not even plan it that much?
I was gonna go based off whatever happens. So it's pretty much kind of just go where the wind takes me sort of situation. Like I came to the US kind of on chance. Like I was applying to universities in undergrad, and I was like, cool, which ones, or in high school for undergrad, and I was like, cool, which ones can I go to, affordable, et cetera. And I put those ones in like a hat, and I picked up a piece of paper that had the name of Purdue, and I went to Purdue. So it was
That's an amazing way to make a pretty major life choice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got lucky. I got into some colleges, and multiple of them like gave me like scholarships, or gave me like something to incentivize me going there. And so I had a choice, which was like so nice, but also I was like, oh, I don't know which one to choose. They're all like in different countries. And the ones that are in my country, I know they're not going to be as good as like like American or like some European universities. So I was like, cool, let me see which ones are the ones in the West I can go to. And I let the fates decide for me.
Do you have any idea about, last time it was put some names in a hat? Do you know what the next steps, how they're going to be defined? Is a lot of it going to be defined by where the work is, or the volunteering is, or the things that you can use your PhD towards, where those are?
Right now, now there's less choice. Now it's going to be a matter of visas and immigration and, where can I travel to? Because borders exist. And so, I've been applying kind of for jobs in the Middle East because that's like where I can go live and work without restrictions. My current visa in the U.S. is called a non-immigrant visa. So no matter what, once it ends, I gotta leave. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna leave at some point because it's a non-immigrant visa. But because I got a PhD, it does now open up more possibilities for immigration in other countries. So like New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and UK, they all four of them have like pathways where if you got a PhD, you increase the chance that you can be allowed to enter and work there. So right now, I'm preparing applications for like some of those countries, and I figured whichever one shows up, and if it shows up at a time where I can move there, maybe I'll do it. And if it shows up at a time where I've already chosen somewhere else, then that's that. So I'm kind of leaving it to whatever the governments of the world decide I can move to.
Is your partner from a similar part of the world as you are?
No, she's American.
She's American. Oh, but I thought you said her visa was going to be up as well.
She wants to also go try out other countries, but she is in the USA originally.
So she graduates at a different time than you, but it's not about a visa issuance. Wow.
Yeah, you just timeline-wise, she needs an extra year and a half on her program.
That's pretty cool. You have a stretch in America, and now she's looking to dive into some other parts of the world as well.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been together?
Excited. Almost 5 years.
That's for real.
Our anniversary for our first date will be on Valentine's Day. And that would be our 5 years of knowing each other.
You went first date on Valentine's Day? That is bold.
We did, yeah.
Bold.
It worked out.
I know, but if it goes bad, that's like a real disaster. I'm glad it worked out. Has your family been to the States, or has your partner been to the Middle East? Like, have they interacted?
Yes to both. Yes to both. So the suitcase I was lifting that then gave me a concussion was because we just came back from the Middle East. It was like the same night we got back. So we went back we went to the Middle East for a week, and the day I come back is the day I get concussion.
That's rough.
Yeah.
And again, some of this is me trying to sort out how much of this is my own cliches and misconceptions, and I try to do a good job on the show about admitting those when I feel them flare up. I think when you're, on a student visa in one country for a limited time, it's easy for me to maybe assume that this is some like cross-cultural relationship and that parents might have hesitation about it, but that might just be a stereotype I have in my mind. How do all the folks react to this?
Oh, they were very welcoming to her.
That's rad. That's great.
Yeah, my mom has always had the philosophy that the moment I choose to like love someone, that they will basically be her child as well. And so I didn't really worry too much about introducing her to my family. The only like barriers is that there is a language barrier. My family speaks only Arabic and not English. and so I'm the translator between them. But that's a lot easier to manage when everyone is very welcoming of each other. So
Did you
I was
learn?
very happy with the reception.
Did you learn English growing up, or did you learn it once you got to Indiana?
Growing up.
Yeah.
I grew up in the cities, and in the cities there's a lot of English. It's only when you go towards like the really rural parts where you might not be able to come across English as much, or if at all. And so my entire schooling growing up was both in English and Arabic, because we were required to learn both languages in school.
That's cool. And then you hang out with the red pandas at the zoo.
Yeah.
Just pop off and get a PhD real quick. Chill out in San Diego. Have fun in Indiana. Enjoy the snow.
Crazy.
Enjoy the snow for a while, and then move on with life.
Yeah. I look back at all this and I'm like, oh, this is so crazy, because it's not typically normal for someone from Jordan to be able to leave, because there's like a big difference in like currency that doesn't really hold up as much outside of Jordan. And so like financially it doesn't really happen a lot. But just like a lot of things happened that then gave me the chance to do it, and I've been kind of enjoying it since then. But it's honestly crazy that it happened.
It's cool. It's cool to hear about. It's cool to hear about you just coming from almost the opposite side of the world and just diving right in and saying, like, let's spend a few years doing this, and then maybe it's New Zealand next. Who knows? I'm very jealous of that. I wish I had more of that in my soul, but I don't.
Well, I hope you. I do hope you can satisfy your wanderlust wherever you choose to be, Chris.
I hope my son does. That's what I really hope. I feared traveling way too late in life, and by the time I got into it, there was so much happening as far as being a grown up with responsibilities and a career that I never totally shook my nervousness around it. And I never once traveled. I've never traveled to another country and felt like it was a waste of time or I was anything but better for it. And I hope my kid learns from that, because that's one of the big blind spots in my life. So I hope my son is a lot more like you in this particular way.
I wish him the best. I hope he enjoys traveling in that case.
What a cool thing to be able to talk to you. What a cool thing. We're about to wrap up here on the free feed. I'm hoping you'll hang out for a few minutes to do our 5 questions that people can sign up to hear at beautifulanonymous.com. Support the show in doing so. But are there any closing thoughts from our zoo volunteering, PhD getting, globe-trotting, world-traveling friend we've met today?
Just that, thank you all for listening, and thank you to all of you who made me have a fun experience in the USA. Really appreciate it.
I think my final question, because we got a few seconds left, is you do have this positivity. How? Because so many of us are finding it hard to summon positivity. How do you get there so consistently?
I do think it's because of volunteering. It really helps it really helps me to like give out like a day in my week or a day in every 2 weeks towards my community. I get to meet people, and it's really easy to be positive when like your mind is thinking about like a random Susan or a random Jeffrey or whoever you met, and you're like, oh, they exist and they have their own stories, and whatever I'm doing, there's now a link between us because I met them. And so that's kind of fun. That's like, it helps to be like, oh, these are people and I'm around people. And that helps me a lot, I think.
What a beautiful way to end. Thanks so much to everybody who's been listening on the free feed.
Thank you.
Caller, thank you so much for calling, for telling us about the zoo and your studies and your future and your fears and your hopes and all the things in between. That was a cool phone call. I really appreciate it. This show is produced by Andrea Quinn, who is, of course, the high priestess of Beautiful Anonymous. Our theme song is by Shell Shag. ChrisGeth.com if you want my tour dates. Remember, we got Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh this weekend if you're hearing this when it comes out. Our voicemail line is 973-306-4676. We're on Instagram at Beautiful Anonymous Pod. We're also on Facebook at Beautiful Anonymous The Community. Please tell people we exist. Thanks so much for listening. BeautifulAnonymous.com if you want more stuff. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. If I got an honorary doctorate from an unaccredited 2-year community college, I would still insist everyone call me doctor, just on principle.
Whoever is listening, you could technically nominate Chris for an honorary doctorate. Like, universities have those on their website. They go online, pick up the form, and then nominate to everyone nominate.
Oh, don't give people any bright ideas.
Don't? Okay.
Oh, Andrea just typed, I hope this takes off. If this leads to me having to field phone calls from strange universities that are like, we're considering you for a doctorate, it all comes back to you, and I hope you listen to the show and learn that and giggle, because it was your doing and your prank.
I'll attend your graduation.
Yes,
if you invite
please.
me to it.
Yes, please. As long as you will stand there as a fellow doctor side by side to validate this, then I will do it.
I will do it, Chris.
Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.